Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and all variations thereof, and welcome to the Thursday stream. Welcome, everybody. We're doing something a little different today. We don't usually play TaleSpire on a Thursday, but in this case, I'm making an exception because I need to get stuff done. I need to get stuff done. And in order to get stuff done, I need to play TaleSpire, because we have a session coming up on Wednesday, and as of yet, I have done almost no prep for it. Which is not great. Apologies, I'm also in the middle of eating dinner. Give me a second to turn my camera on and to get some music, because it is deathly silent at the moment. Let's see if YouTube behaves today. I tweaked a setting and it seems to be helping, though it hasn't fixed the problem fully. Let's do You know what? I have been doing a lot of canning today, so let's listen to some stupendium, shall we? Why not? Hi, everybody. I need my glasses. How are we all doing today? I hope we're all doing well. Let me bring you all a little closer. There we go. There we go. Okay, so today we are working on the city of Farrenholm because last session our dear friends encountered a creature unknown. And because of that, we need to make some adjustments to the battle map. And that means we need a few different buildings in this area. Okay. So, quick query as to what we're doing here today, everybody. This is the battle map for the Shadows of Sorcery D&D sessions that I run on a bi-monthly basis, or semi-weekly basis, I guess. We run things on a Wednesday, every other Wednesday. Oh. So once every 2 weeks. I don't think that's bi-monthly, because months have a tendency to have more than 1 week. Have more than 4 weeks in them, sometimes. I don't know. Brain's a little scrambled at the moment. I had to go have a work coach meeting today, and it has destroyed any semblance of processing power that I might have had, sadly. No, because bi-weekly is twice a week, Dragon Reaper. Bi-weekly is like 2 times a week. Whereas bi-monthly is 2 times a month, which would be once every other week. But it's not quite that linear, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm not making any sense. Okay. So we're going to start with the Temple to Callist, I think. Fortnightly. Fortnightly, yes. Thank you, Baldrax. That is a very good word. Thank you. Fortnightly. Yes. So we run the D&D sessions fortnightly. Bisexual weekly. Also an option, Milo, I suppose. It is Pride Month, after all. Yeah, no, it is Pride Month, maybe. But yes, today we are working on a little bit of a battle map. For those of you who've never seen the D&D sessions before, oh, on a bit high there. This world is the world that we use for the D&D sessions. Half-built, constantly changing, with a half-built sewer system, half-built roads. This is the city of Farrenholm, but it is consistently getting added to because I can never find the motivation or time to actually maintain it properly. And thank you, Madeline, for the tea check, the unshrimping, and the mint. I will have a mint in a minute once I've finished eating dinner. Mega dungeon. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to be building to start with is the Calist Amphitheater. So, a little bit of backstory, I suppose, for you guys. The deities in this world are not the normal deities that you would find in traditional Dungeons and Dragons settings. They are homebrewed. Which means many of them have their own independent names. Independent from Bahamut, or the Allfather, or any of that sort of thing. So, the beings that we have in this world, they are known as the Septim. They are the mortal gods. And the one in particular here is the goddess Calist. Calist is the goddess of theatre, the goddess of wealth and extravagance, essentially. And because of that, apologies. Because of that, she usually has her temples modeled after amphitheaters of a sort. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna build like a sort of U shape here. And I am awful in that I like all of my buildings to be symmetrical. So everything must be shaped accordingly. Okay. What we're gonna do, we're gonna actually... we're gonna push this to have a set of 3 doors. And this sort of... I'm not sure what this architecture style would be. No, I don't. That'll do. And we'll give them a bit more of a curve. Like this. One of the things that I do want to see, hopefully in the future for TaleSpire, is more centered doors. Because at the moment, a lot of the large doors are 2x2s, but I love my 3x3 entranceways. I'm terrible like that. I always want things that aren't originally in the game. I'm always wanting the things I can't have. Okay, let's skip this one. So yeah, it's a time for me running through different projects and going, oh, but if only I had this shape or that shape. How do I make this or that shape out of things that are not that shape? Yeah, doors as props. There are a few specific things that I would like to see in TaleSpire. Doors, or at least maneuverable doors like props, or an implementation of props that are a little less restrictive, I guess. But yeah, doors as props rather than like on the grid would be nice. The other thing that I'd like to see is point-to-point ropes. Ropes that work like like the rulers, essentially. Like being able to do this, but instead of doing it, well, like that, being able to do it with ropes and like just, oh, that is a sphere. That is a sphere. Like, just like that, and that. And then this. And that. And that. And then just being able to lock it. And being able to have that sort of rope. I would love to have that. It would make rigging so nice. But yeah, there are few things that I want in life, but point-to-point ropes are one of them, and airships. Point-to-point ropes and airships. Those are the few things that I want in life. Okay, I'm gonna put in some wooden pillars, I think. Tavern. Wood and stone. Well, at least one of those things is on the plans. I know, I hear whispers of airships, yes. I did ask about point-to-point ropes in the last live stream, and I was given the answer, it's a cool idea, I have no thoughts. Which, you know, it's good enough for me, I guess. If it's considered a cool idea, I will take it. Let's do... Let's do... arched windows? Maybe? Around the outside, maybe, yes. Okay. But that fills the pillar, so let's use the little 1x1s! I love the 1x1s. The 1x1s are so useful. The ability to mirror selections would be nice as well. We'll add a pair of side doors to the amphitheater, because what we'll do is we'll have people file through into the center, and these wing sections will be more like bedrooms or storage rooms, something like that. Point-to-point banners. That would be interesting. So, like, instead of having, like, banners that you just place as props, have point-to-point banners that have fabric physics. So that you can click in, like, 4 specific corners, and then you can have a banner just hang down and wave in gentle weather. Something like that. Point-to-point rigging would be cool as well. Anything rope-wise or fabric-wise, I think, should be put on a point-to-point system similar to the rulers. Like, it seems to me that that would be the best way to implement it, at least visually. Maybe that's just me, though. Give me a wall. Give me a wall. And then we can bring this back to this point. And then we curve. And then we curve. Yeah. Although I do... It's a temple. I feel like it needs to be longer. I feel like it needs to be longer. Oh, every time. I'm like, this building looks... Wait, no, it needs to be longer. Make it longer. That should do. Oh. Pillars. There we go. Like that. Put that and that there. YouTube, have you buggered up again? Oh no, you haven't. Just gonna... No, you... Okay, there we go. At some point this evening, we are actually going to get a lying joining us to chat. They are going to be building in Minecraft, though, not in TaleSpire. Okay. Give me the curve now. How does that feel? Oh, much better. That feels more like a theater. And what we'll actually do... Okay. How about that? Slide that in there. We want... These curves back here are fine. Let's push this back like that. Then we can have this sort of backstage area. Hey Vivel! And hey Groll, welcome! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Where's the curves? There's the curves. Oh, no, those are the broken ones. Okay. Just make sure that we can actually have things look good on the outside as well as the inside. Okay. And slide this to the back there. Okie dokie. Enjoy organization. Well, hopefully you enjoy organization. We want this to be relatively high up. We want benches around the top, as well as staircases up there. Give me stairs. And put those in like this. Wrong one. And then we can hide the actual stairs below the floor. want to pull these. Let's put some pillars in. Make it look a little bit nicer. No, don't delete the floor. I've done something. I've done something. Okay, so let's... How's that? Yeah, that looks good. Probably want the walls to be the front of the stage. Well, if we think... I mean, what kind of theatre do we have here? Is it... Does it have... Well, it's open air, so the orchestra pit would probably not be an orchestra pit. It would probably be somewhere up on the balconies. Let's bring in... Oh, no, I don't like that. Let's do... Callus does like her marble, so let's do... Ooh, no, that's way too bright. Maybe... just lines. Yeah. So if we do something like this... And then if we cap that, actually... Like that? Perhaps? Maybe. Not entirely certain. Hold on. I need some brain sauce. I require brain sauce. And by brain sauce, I mean I need curry on my rice. At least a little bit, because I've run out. My rice is getting cold, and curry is warm. Oh! Bag of curry is fighting me. Let me in! Let me in! God damn it. I just want to eat some warm curry. Is that so much to ask? There we go. Much better. Come on. Come on. There we go. Ah. Right. I apologize, everybody, for making you listen through my struggle with the curry. Yeah. I'm having a day, apparently. And I'm not sure if it's a good day or a bad day. It's just a day. I apologize. Okay. I don't like that. What I do want is... where did I put... Where is... There it is. Wooden beam. Okay. So... There we go. That feels a little bit better. Can we use doors? We do that. And have the handles below the floor level. I think we'll have... Something like this, maybe? And then... Castle Ruin. Our faithful old stone slab. How's that? That pattern doesn't look too bad, actually. Okay. Let's pull in some mega dungeon walls very quickly. Put one there. One there. And then funnel the people into this sort of central section. We'll bring this sort of... Is that lined up? That is lined up. We'll bring that section in. If we do this... No. No, no. There we go. Okay, yeah, that might work. Might work. I'm not certain. I do think that this front section should be paved stone. that, and then we have a decent idea of where the stairs settle. Okay. Something like this, and then have seats, like the lower class seats, because there is a class divide in this world, as there is in every world that has coinage as its currency. If we do... Those are very small. That's even smaller. Do we have a bench of some sort? That's a table. Oh, we do. We have... Something like this? No, no. Let's go with... Well, we want some reasonable tierage. Actually, that is a good point. These walls, if we pull them out... rural... Yes. Okay. How's that? Okay. Yeah, that goes over the top. This can lead up to the second floor. Oh. That pokes through, but it's fine for the most part. There we go. Okay. I feel like we need banisters. But, well, that depends on whether... Upside down ramps. We need more of those. We need more ceiling options, internal ones. Give me... Statues. Give me statues. Where are the statues? Miscellaneous exterior. There we go. Not... It's cool, but it's not the right vibe for this place. Realistically, the knights aren't either. These might be, but... Hmm. Let's try Dragonborn. How about that? Makes it feel more like a barracks than anything else. Needs to feel like a theatre. And that does not feel like a theatre. Let's grab some Mega Dungeon flooring. There we go. Yeah, that feels okay. Do we have any nice purple? Something in purple, I think. Purple, 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 purple. We do have those crystals. Yeah, okay. Is it Miscanteria? No, miscellaneous exterior. There we are. So put in some little purple crystals. Color of theatre. So, I don't... The horn is cool, but the flesh-wrapped skin is... Okay, let's do... No. I mean, I want there to be a play going on the stage, but I don't think that's quite what I'm looking for. A nice big light source, I think, in the middle, at the very least. Okay. I feel like we could... We go higher. There. And a little bit of stairway action. And then little benches like this. Individual seating seems like a luxury, I guess. But in comparison to the rest of the place, this... There's a lot of standing room, and there's going to be some seating room down here, but most of the seating will go upstairs. That feels very empty, but we'll get there. Give me a wall piece. And we can have a door here and here. Take out these two floor pieces on each side. Take away the below floor piece. Give me the Mega Dungeon stairs. Oh. There we go. I think we'll go down one more set of stairs. And then this can be the basement, which will be composed of basement stuff. Okay. A decent pair of staircases. But we want this room to be relatively contained. Whoopsie. There we go. And I think we'll actually do rural flooring in here. It's backstage. It needs to be somewhat comfortable, you know? Whoopsie. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I feel like any performer worth their salt is not going to settle for a stone floor to sleep on. Or to, like... Even if they're a temple. Like, wood flooring at least. At least wood flooring is slightly more comfortable. There we go. Also, for those wondering, we are currently listening to the Stupendium, because I felt like it. Is pretty much the only reason. Okay, so this is the basement to the theatre. That's backstage. It's upstairs. Downstairs would be the dormitories, I think. Dormitories and prop storage, probably. I would imagine, anyway. Okay. Oh, feels a little more fleshed out. Okay. And now we need floor. Okay. Okay. No, give me... The floor patterns must... They must work. Floor patterns must work. Okay. Nice. I like this. I like this. It's slowly coming together. Uh... Oh, if that isn't true. Okay. A little bit of extra flooring. What we'll probably do is we'll have a secondary level above the stage itself. There we go. Actually, that feels too low. Let's try going up by 1. Okay. There we go, and we can have a bit of a balcony-esque section. Oh, no, that's a little too high. Slide that into place. I feel like the back of the building is very blank. Nobody's gonna see it anyway, though. It's fine. I do believe we're going to have a line soon. Okay. I am good. Stupendium, that's enough. Give me... Give me Miracle of Sound. Much nicer. Well, no. I like the Stupendium, but sometimes I require a bit more of a rock and roll sort of style, and that's when I go to Miracle of Sound. Okay. I would like it if these were a little more centered. But, oh well. There's no mirrored variation. They're always slightly uneven. I can live with it. I can live with it. Okay, let's take a break from the temple very quickly. It does look very cool, but I think... No, hold on, I want a statue. How's that? Oh yeah, that feels more like a theater. Like, big statues flanking a building. That feels military. Big statues in archways over the top. That feels like a civil building. I prefer that. I will lift this up by one block though. Or one segment. Block. Okay. So, we still need a building in this area. We need a building in this area. A few buildings here, a few buildings here. I want to make sure this crossroad is populated. I am going to put down a marker. Convert to bookmark. Okay. Perfect. There's more to build here, but this works quite well. I would like a downward curve. I guess we can kind of get that with the stairs. Something like this. Whoopsie. Nope. There. There. Hold up. That's one too high. Hello. Hi, Line. Welcome.
How are you?
I had a DWP appointment today.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So the answer to that question is I had a DWP appointment today. So, you know, I'm doing as well as can be expected considering the circumstances.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm doing okay. I had a DWP appointment today, and they told me your next appointment is on the 4th of July, and I'm like, I gotta vote that day.
Yeah.
And they're like, yep, come in anyway, and I'm like,
This is voter. This is
great.
interference, isn't it? This is election interference.
Ugh. You know, at this point, I would not be surprised.
No, I got a leaflet recently, like shoved into my hand by a canvasser. That was literally, put this in your window. It will say no canvases or leaflets from any other parties specifically. And I'm like,
Huh.
not only do you not understand the tone deafness of what you're saying, you're actively stating that you want to avoid me interfering with other parties. So the quality of your ideas becomes moot because no one else is allowed to tell me theirs.
Yeah.
That's election tampering right there.
Yeah.
Here, because it took forever to actually age this copper.
Oh yeah. We have 1.21 out now. Yay. I found the scale attribute and I am so happy.
I have spent... Okay. Do you know what's special about 121?
I have heard a few different things, but I'm not entirely certain what you mean from your end of things.
Well, the special thing about 121, indeed 120.5 onwards pretty much, is that it requires Java version 21 or more recent.
Oh, yes, yeah, I found that one out the hard way when I tried to update.
I have spent a good solid chunk of the last week trying to make a developer space where I can actually program mods for that.
Ah, yes, I understand now.
Many headaches. So many headaches.
Well, in fairness, it has only been... Well, the snapshots and stuff have been out for a while, but like 1.21 itself has only been out a few days at this point. I think you're allowed to take some time before you start updating to that version.
Here's the thing, I'm not currently trying to update any of my mods to 120.5 or more or later. I'm currently trying to create a project for 120.5 or 121.
Oh, hold on, Lying. Oh, apparently your Discord audio output was really low on my end for some reason, and nobody could hear you. It's fixed now. I think I might have
hearing another voice. Oh dear.
yeah. No, that should be fixed now. I I looked over and I was like, why is the volume slider for that all the way down? What have I done?
You muted me at some stage, is what you're telling me.
Well, at some stage I must have muted the Discord audio capture, and I must have forgotten to bring it back up.
Was I just hearing like a parakeet in the background there? What? Was that
A budgie.
squeaking noise?
A budgie.
Why do you have a budgie?
I don't have a budgie. It's the sound of rubber on metal, which is the sound that my water bottle makes when I unscrew the cap.
Noted. So if I hear what sounds like, I don't know...
If you hear what sounds like me murdering a budgie, it's me drinking water.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You know, like usual.
Mm-hmm. Like that time that it sounded like you were having a like brutal fist fight with like brass knuckles and four like London gangsters. It was in fact just you murdering some bouillon. Yeah, I remember this. Yes.
I don't remember this actually. What?
That's the joke. I'm making up a totally fictitious event that totally never happened.
I
of course.
see. I understand. But no.
Yeah, I've got you open it on my other PC so I can actually see what you're up to for tonight.
I am building up the battle map for next session.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Should I turn my view of the stream off then?
No, you can see. I mean, it's literally just part of the city. But I am gonna say it's gonna be fun. I'm also building up the Temple of Callist, because it's in this area.
Hey boo, good to see you.
So yeah.
Right. I have a plan for what that platform over yonder is going to look like.
Oh.
It's a rough plan, but should hopefully fit nicely with the bridge and the entrance structure I've made.
A plan, you say?
Yes, occasionally I do have plans.
That is very surprising to me, you know.
Wait, why? I built this entire thing and you're telling me...
I mean, I guess it's...
I made this colossal hole in the world and you're telling me I did that without a plan?
Being your game master for D&D, it does not surprise me that you have a plan. It does surprise me that you have stuck to it.
No, and when you're the DM of a like an RPG group, the thing that should surprise you is whenever the plan works.
Yeah, no, that's fair as well, but like the plan working is secondary to the plan being followed at all, you know?
Yeah. Well, my character, by some stroke of how RPG of how 5e works, does in fact have a 20 intelligence.
Yeah, no, that is true. Whether or not you use it properly is another matter entirely, but...
I was there was a discussion recently about intelligence that I was reading up on, about predominantly AI, but also like practical versus like education kind of intelligence and all various other things. My D&D character is very like street smart, I guess would be the way of putting it.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to like go step by step through his objectives and to ask crucially the questions that will help to like that will help him to know things. He is not the least bit studious, nor has he ever been to like a higher education facility in his entire existence. So he's not like a wizard that's been like ensconced in his tower for like 5 centuries or something. But if you need to organize a carnival, he can put 2 and 2 together and figure it out.
Yeah, though I will say, you do occasionally play Darren a bit like a wizard who's been ensconced in a tower at times.
Only when the role requires.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's fair. Darren is a man of many masks in his lifetime, and he's accustomed to putting on a role if need be.
No, that's fair.
Like, he does have a not terrible deception roll. Although persuasion is his best roll by far.
I mean, deception and persuasion sometimes go hand in hand, in fairness.
Like when you're trying to fake being a visiting scholar to a university.
Yeah.
Because that happened.
I mean, well, technically a university. It's more like a research academy than anything else. It's not really a university. It's more like a giant library where students come and peruse things.
Does that not describe a university?
Well, no, because a university, by definition, would teach classes. The Royal Academy doesn't. It's more like a research library of epic proportions, essentially. Yeah. It's like, if you were to visit one of the major academies, those would be like full-on universities. But there's only 3 of them in the world, and they're like the most dangerous places to get to. So
That seems like it might be a little bit of a problem for anyone with any kind of accessibility issues.
well, they're not really about... Okay. It's not necessarily like accessibility that is the dangerous part. It's the giant forests of hallucinogenic mist and that sort of thing.
I would call that an accessibility concern.
I would call that a death trap, but
That
sure.
too. That too. But I would call that an accessibility concern.
I mean, at the end of the day, the idea is that the mage schools, or the mage towers, as they are, mage academies, specific term, mage academy, I need to remember that, is that their whole deal is they don't really want more mages, so the ones that do make it there need to be exceptionally good at what they do.
They don't want more mages.
No. Generally speaking...
That seems counterproductive to their existence.
Well, it's not... It's less of a they don't want more mages and a more... They don't want unskilled mages, essentially. They want people with natural talent. There's a bit of a classist kind of vibe going on there, to be honest. The mages and wizards of Rathen are a bit snobby, essentially.
I see. That's the excuse. Gotcha.
Well, no, it's the truth of the matter. Like, at the end of the day, they are just a bit snobby about the whole having magic sort of thing, or studying magic. And they don't like sorcerers. They really don't like sorcerers.
Oh, is that the classic RPG thing? Of I spent years studying to get this power and you were gifted it by blood?
Something like that, yeah.
That's somewhat ironic for a group of snobby researchers.
Like, they're snobby in that they believe that you should only gain power through hard work and skill. So sorcerers are kind of like a bit of an abomination to them. And sorcery in general is frowned upon within sort of high academic wizard circles, because it's like, well, yeah, it's like I spent years studying this and you have a natural grasp of it. Why should you get the privileges that I didn't, essentially, sort of thing. So yeah, the mage academies are a bit snobbish. And they're also... have you ever read the Dragonlance series?
No, but I am familiar with it existing.
Okay, so Dragonlance is, as you may know, one of the sort of official core D&D worlds.
Yeah.
Within this world, the wizard system is a little different from most in that they are divided into the white, the red, and the black. The white mages are the good, the red mages are the neutral, and the black mages are the evil ones, so to speak.
Yeah.
And within the world of Dragonlance, there are multiple mage towers that are dedicated to each variation of this sort of sect of wizardry. And what I essentially took from that, what I took as inspiration from the Dragonlance series was the moons of the Dragonlance series. In Dragonlance, they have 3 moons. Argentis, they have 3 moons. In Dragonlance, they're called the Silver Moon, the Red Moon, and the Black Moon, or the Moon of Shadow. In this setting, they are called Argentis, Umbra, and Ira. So Argentis being the Silver Moon, Umbra being the Shadow Moon, Ira being the Red Moon. And so the world of Rathen has these 3 moons, and in relation, the wizards kind of took a little bit of that and went, here are our 3 major mage academies. One is named after the Silver Moon, the Academy of Argentis. One is named after the Red Moon, the Academy of Ira. And one is named after the Shadow Moon, the Academy of Umbra. And they essentially study different disciplines in each of these major academies across the land. So, like, you have people in sort of the Academy of Argentis. They study, like, major arcana, like time magic and dunamancy and all of this sort of thing. And then in the Academy...
Dunamancy?
Yeah.
Is that not a Matthew Mercer thing?
Dunamancy is not technically a Matthew Mercer thing. It's a thing that has been expanded a lot by Matthew Mercer, but it was an original thing to D&D. It's just not something that many people talked about before. Dunamancy is essentially magic that pertains to the manipulation of space and time, and like gravity and stuff like that. So, technically speaking, Dunamancy is the category that it all falls under, but time magic is technically known as chronoturgy. It's kind of weird. So I just refer to it as Dunamancy because it's easier that way.
Ah yes, chronoturgy, the thing that your grandfather takes the blue pills for.
I don't think either of my grandfathers take those blue pills anymore. But yeah, so you've essentially got the Academy of Argentis, which is like the big like academy. It's got massive silver spires. It deals in all things major arcana, essentially. Then you have the Academy of Ira, which is sort of like more sort of more like summonings and conjuration, that sort of thing. And then you have the Academy of Umbra, which deals in the darker side of things, which is like necromancy and like soul infusion.
It's 2024. Can we just admit that like recycling is good?
I mean, that's yes, it's fine. Like, I do not judge. If you want to play a necromancer, you can play a necromancer. I'm just saying that's where they study necromancy and stuff like that. Except that not really, because the Academy of Umbra kinda had a little bit of a fucksy-wucksy and kinda exploded.
Ah, I see.
Or
Same.
not quite exploded. Like, it's still there. There's just problems.
Less of it.
There's. It's not that there's less of it. It's just that there's problems. But yeah, and like the Academy of Argentis is somewhere in the middle of like an enchanted forest. The Academy of Ira is like in the middle of a desert. And then the Academy of Umbra is, like, teetering on the edge of, like, some giant cliffs. Like, right on the edge of the ocean. And it kind of
I'm really
flickers.
coming back to this accessibility feature issue here.
Well, the way I see it is... The way they see it is as long as you have a good... Like, as long as you are skilled in magic and have a good understanding and are willing to study... accessibility won't be an issue because magic.
So you gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps sufficiently enough before they care.
Basically, yeah. Like, they don't necessarily want to be accessible to everyone. They want to be accessible to the people who are...
Matter.
Hmm?
The people who matter.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. At least the people who matter to them. But yeah, there's a lot of lore around the mage academies, and you may end up going to one day.
It's significantly likely given Darren's objectives in life.
However, you may find it difficult to get to one. Because they, as I said, they want wizards, and anyone else is kind of not allowed in.
Yeah, and Darren's kind of a sorcerer too, so
little bit of sorcery blood in there, yeah.
as far as we know, which is weird because that's not how dwarves work in your setting.
No, it's not. The way I've envisioned it is essentially, like, okay, so the way dwarves work. Shall we talk a little bit about how dwarves work in the Rathen setting? So as we've discussed before, dwarves are not born; they are made. They are crafted from clay and stone, and built from the land to return to the land at the end of their life cycle, essentially.
I realize I've basically just given you like a big, massive like opportunity to info dump here, haven't I?
Yes, you have. Deal with it.
Hope you like it. Consider it my gift to you.
But yeah. So dwarves are in the most basic sense in this setting. Dwarves are a form of golem. And this means a few different things, but the biggest thing is that dwarves don't really have a concept of gender.
Which was not something that you told me before I made my character, I should note.
No, it isn't. And I kind of like... I guess it's because, in my view, that's kind of just how dwarves are. But the dwarvish interpretation that I was raised on was Terry Pratchett's. Which is very much a whole thing of, like, dwarves don't have gender. And they are slowly discovering what gender is throughout Discworld. So, like, my interpretation of dwarves is very different from someone who's been raised on, like, Tolkien and stuff like that. But it essentially also means that a dwarf in my setting has a few advantages that a dwarf in other settings wouldn't. Like, for example, the fact that they gain a favored terrain depending on the essentially the the rock that they were made from, which is why I have repeatedly asked you what Darren's favorite rock is, because that would be the rock that they would have been made from, which would dictate a favored terrain as a perk for your character. But you have repeatedly told me that you don't know, so I
don't know very many rocks, okay? I may have watched Steven Universe, but that does not mean I know many rocks.
But yes, it's essentially a it essentially just gives you like a favored terrain as like an additional bonus to being a dwarf. So
Darren is special, so not too surprised that we can't figure that one out.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we shall find out what that favored terrain is at some point. But essentially, with that, it also means that when dwarves are born, they are born for specific roles. Very much, now that you mention it, in a vein of like Steven Universe style, the way the gems are made.
POV, you realize you accidentally remade Steven Universe.
Yeah, like I just realized that I have accidentally made how the crystal gems are created, or how the gems are sort of made. Except, not quite, but kind of yes.
Yes, but no, of course.
Yes, but no.
The ancient writer's defense. Yes, but no.
Yes, yeah. Like, in my defense, I was not thinking about that when I first wrote out the mythology of the dwarves. As of now, that is actually relatively poignant, I suppose. But yes. I essentially when I was looking at sort of how the dwarves would work in this world, I was like, well, I don't want to go traditional dwarves because that feels
done to death.
Boring? Yeah. Like, it's been done. It's been there, done that, seen it.
Everyone has been regurgitating Tolkien for so many decades.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't really want to go Tolkien dwarves. They're fine, but I'm not that interested.
It's a strong archetype, sure.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, what if I went Pratchett dwarves? Which are a very different sort of ideal. Because it's not... Dwarves in Pratchett's sort of universe aren't necessarily dwarves in the traditional sense. They're more like the idea of like even an adopted dwarf is still a dwarf even if they're not a dwarf, right? So like a human adopted by a dwarven couple is a dwarf, regardless of their original, like, identity. They are a dwarf now because they were raised by dwarves, sort of thing. And with that in mind, there's a decent amount of, like, framework there to work off of. So I thought to myself, well, let's make them Pratchett dwarves. What sets them apart from other races in this world? So, elves live for centuries and they live in trees. Fine. I haven't actually... elves are the one thing that I have not expanded on at all in this universe. They live in a forest somewhere. I don't care. I was like, elves.
You're so much more interested in dwarves, which, to be fair, same.
Yeah, like I don't mind an elf, okay? But they live in a forest somewhere, and I've given them
the way that you couched that was like, I don't mind. It was like you were about to utter a racial slur or something. I got nothing against elves, but
God, oh no! It's like I looked at the elves. I went, elves. forest there. Goodbye. And just moved on. Because, like, I'll admit, I didn't expect anyone to play an elf, and as it turns out, nobody wanted to play an elf. So, yeah.
It would be like ever since Tolkien with like Gimlis, Gigglus, I guess is the way to put it. The standard thing has been that elves and dwarves usually hate each other for usually some vague, undescribed reason. It's just like these two races are basically racist against one another. That's just how it's been for an age. Imagine the irony if in your setting, dwarves are made from stone and whatnot, and elves are grown.
You know,
imagine if they're both artificial rather than being like traditional.
I did actually think about that, and I was like, what if elves had a similar root as dryads? But
they were related even. Wait, no, that's the Sylvari. Never mind.
No, that's the Sylvari from Guild Wars.
Damn it.
But like the idea being that like dryads are the spirits of the trees, but elves were born from them, sort of thing. But yeah, it's... Where was I? I was on dwarves. No, not elves right now. No elves right now. We'll talk about elves later. But yeah, essentially, elves... No, not elves. Dwarves! Dwarves! God damn it, Lying. What have you done to me?
Lucian's just having a senior moment. Don't worry, everyone.
I am...
Lucian's younger than me, but is having a senior moment. No one questioned that.
I am older than my brain thinks I am. Or no, I am younger than my brain thinks I am. There we go. Whatever. Yes. Point being, dwarves are essentially built. The way the mythos, the way I wrote out the mythos is... And I had this sort of discussion with Zarian when I first wrote out the idea of the dwarves. Zarian was like, well, why are the dwarves built? What happens...
Why are the dwarves built instead of born?
Yeah, and I was like, well, it's something different. It's something new. I don't feel like I want to do the same thing that everybody else has done. And they were like, well, what happens during a war? And I'm like, that's where it gets interesting. Because obviously in a war you need manpower. But the idea behind dwarven custom is that creating a dwarf is a sacred, like, duty, essentially. Mm-hmm. It is something undertaken by a family. So, realistically, what does happen in a war? Well, in a war, that custom may get suspended, and you might have hundreds of dwarves that are churned out for the war effort, but then what is their purpose afterwards, you know? Or, dwarves in this universe are in fact master golem craftsmen, and just because they have the ability to imbue true life into a body, doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to also imbue temporary life into golems and create war machines that way, giving them a simple piece of sentience to carry out commands. But it also comes into the idea of, like, dwarves... So, as I said, dwarves, they view the creation of a new dwarf as a sacred duty. It is a duty undertaken by the whole family, not just the parents.
Yeah, not just mum and dad, this I know.
Yeah. Not just the parents, but, like, the entire family. Everybody contributes. The clay that is formed for the body, the stone that is formed for the heart, the varying carvings and runes that are placed on the body to infuse life, etc., etc. All of this stuff is like deeply sacred and ingrained in dwarven culture. And most people outside of like dwarvish culture don't know about it. Most people outside of dwarven culture probably just look at a dwarf and think, oh, a dwarf. Dwarf was born because he has parents, or she has parents, or they have parents.
Yes, logic. Makes sense.
But logically, for any biological race, they just look at a dwarf and go, oh, flesh and blood, they were born. But from a dwarven perspective, they weren't born, they were made. So the way this process sort of works, as I said, is the body is built, and then the beard is carved, essentially. The heart is created and carved from the purest sort of form of rock that is in that area, and then the entire thing is sort of put together.
I've seen that you're in Lucian's chat. Is this? Are you zoning out as well? Now that you're in mine.
What? Who? What?
Oh, Madeline is in my Twitch chat now as well.
I'm sorry if I'm boring people to death, but I am quite interested in this sort of lore.
I wouldn't say you're necessarily boring people to death. You might be dominating the conversation.
I apologize.
I say as someone who is very autistic, and that is like very much a thing I'm wary of. But
I apologize. Would you like to dominate the conversation for a few minutes?
Well, sure, because the thing I've been trying to figure out to get working from 120.1 and onwards is you're familiar with Various Oddities, right?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Right. Various Oddities was for anyone who doesn't know, Various Oddities is one of my older mod projects. And it was billed as the monster manual of Minecraft, but then it hit upon a kind of like a renaissance of interest when I started to add functionally a character creation system to it. Oh, hello, zombie. How you doing? So there was a system where you would be prompted with a screen when you started a world for the first time. You'd pick a species out of that. It had certain character types and certain abilities and all that. And basically, it was Origins before Origins existed. And now Origins does exist, but Origins is still kind of bad by comparison for very discrete reasons. I feel like I should stress Origins is a good mod, and it is as popular as it is for good reason. But it's very much it functions a lot more like a class system than like a character creation system, because you just have one option basically, and that is which origin do you want to pick, which species do you want to be for this.
Yeah.
Whereas Various Oddities, through having the types, then the species on top of that with its own abilities, and then various templates that you could add on top of those even further, meant that you could have people that were very similar but also very drastically different. Now, Various Oddities hasn't been updated since a long time, but I figured I'm currently trying to make a big push on ModRamp to get like a sufficiently large and regular flow of downloads of mod projects and such that I can make some amount of an income off it. Which I will say I'm making progress on, but it's slow goings. And currently, Origins is not available for 121, or to my knowledge, 120.6. So I'm currently racing to rebuild the character creation system of Various Oddities in a more recent mod version on multiple mod loaders before Origins updates.
I see.
Because I know that as soon as Origins comes out, it's going to overshadow anything that tries to compete with it. So I promise I'm not trying to just steal its audience.
I mean, but technically,
I know functionally I'm basically doing that, but what I'm trying to do is make sure that my project gets a fair shake.
No, that is fair. That is fair. No, No, how to put this? There are times when specific mods get more press than they really should over better versions that don't get nearly enough. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just kind of the way the world works.
Every time somebody tells me something like that, though, my response is, why?
Well, because of outreach and people knowing each other and networking and...
All of which is to say, not the least bit because it, like, deserves to be or needs to be that way.
Yeah. No. I mean... Like... There are times when I'm like, well, I could do this, but I know that whatever someone else has already done is 10 times more likely to get seen.
Mm-hmm.
And that, half the time, that kind of makes me want to give up on a project.
Yeah, so sort of a self-defeating prophecy.
Yeah. And then the other half of the time, it makes me drive through the whole thing out of spite.
Spite is a good motivator.
Spite is a... Well... Spite
It's not a healthy motivator, but it is a good motivator.
Spite can be a good motivator. But it can also be somewhat self-destructive, is how I would define it. It doesn't always give you the results that you would want, essentially. And that can be dangerous at times, I feel.
Yeah, I can imagine it being.
Yeah, I feel like more often than not, spite can be more self-destructive than we realize, especially when we're creating through it. It can leave us a little bit vulnerable, and sort of once spite has run its course, we kind of lose our footing, essentially.
I don't know. People still hate Anish Kapoor.
Hmm?
People still hate Anish Kapoor. I think it's lasted pretty well there.
I don't think my brain processed those words properly.
Okay. There's a painter who made the darkest black paint imaginable.
Oh,
and then
yes,
copyrighted it so no one else could use it.
Yes, I remember.
That douchebag.
Well, that in particular is a very special case of spite, honestly.
Yes, because then there was a guy that made the pinkest pink and
pinkest pink
and made
and
it
the
that,
glitteriest
and explicitly
glitter.
said that and explicitly said you can use this unless you're Anish Kapoor, in which case you're not allowed to use it. Like that has lasted the guy pretty well, I would say.
Yes. In fairness, but that is a very special case of spite, I think. That is legendary spite. You know, it refills itself every time you take a new action.
I'm still not entirely certain you were playing with those rules properly when we had to deal with them.
No,
it felt insurmountable.
That's kind of what legendary actions feel like, to be honest.
We didn't have those in the last version I played in, and I'm kind of thankful for that.
Yeah.
So the way that the way Origins works is that it's basically like a class system. You pick a origin, and that's basically your class. So you pick Endirian, you can teleport around a bunch. You pick Elytrian, you can fly. You pick Blazeborn or whatever, you become immune to fire. But that's all. That is the beginning and the end of character creation under Origins. And what's more, Origins itself is an extremely manipulable system. You can hand create new origins in like the JSON data, and it'll be like, okay, when this happens, do X, Y, and Z, basically. So you just create. You don't have to actually like program these things. You can just put them into the MBT, and off you go. And that's great, but it's also overwhelming as all hell if you don't know how to manipulate MBT data and such. So it's like some people would prefer to just have like open up a wiki page, see a list of specific abilities, just chuck that name in. Basically, that's how they'd prefer to have it, and that's fine. I feel like I should stress, but it's not what Origins is built for. So the way that that also then dovetails in is that there is umpteen different Origin packs these days, like just data packs that people can download. It gives you a whole bunch of new Origins and all that sort of stuff. And because the system itself is so malleable, there's not really any way to compare any two given packs of Origins, because one of them might just be like, oh, here's like fun, fancy, like fantasy characters we can play, and the other is these are literally the final boss character from a series of games from the 80s. It's like you can't compare these things, and there's not really any way to show that. So the way that various oddities works, and various types, as it will be called, will work, is that there are creature types, which are hard-coded details. So if you have say the fire subtype, you can reasonably expect that anybody with that is going to be vulnerable in like resistant if not immune to fire damage, for instance. No matter what origin, no matter what species they're running, no matter what their types, if they have that subtype, they should be immune to fire. And then species take a set of types and a set of abilities. Okay, everyone of that species can be presumed to have these creature types and all that sort of stuff, but that is the level where it gets to be configurable. So a data pack full of species can be made, a data pack of just like fantasy species or all sorts of others can be made, and it'll just sit there quite happily to be put on. And then you've got templates that you can also just apply. So including in character creation, which are more configurable things that just get layered on top of your species.
That all sounds... That all sounds nice, but still somewhat complicated.
Well, the way that it's done in just the code, essentially, is you spawn, the character creation menu comes up, you pick a species, depending on what the config settings of the server are, you have like a set of you have a set total max power. And then if the species you pick doesn't have enough power to fill that out, so you have some left over, you're allowed to pick templates to make the rest up. And those just happily sit by there and you're done. So all of the hard part is done for you, basically. The character sheet, literally it's called character sheet in my code, just fills itself out.
Okay. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad. It sounds kind of interesting. With you saying character sheet, though, my brain kind of just went, can I assign skill points?
I haven't come up with that just yet.
Yeah.
But I have already into the code that I've got so far built in the possibility for custom types and abilities. So it's just like, this person is a lizard folk of the insectile template. I'm going to just decide that this specific entity of that combination has a lightning breath weapon, for instance. And the code will just let them have that because it's a custom ability.
Okay. So, I've briefly used the original Various Oddities system, in that I built my own little origin, if you will, to use a different term, but and I essentially created a construct sort of template, in that they couldn't heal normally. They had to use potions and stuff. However,
standard property of all constructs.
Yes. However, they were unable to drown, and they had immunity to, I think I made it so that they got healed by lightning as well. Because constructs run on electricity, etc., etc., etc. And I kind of took the Iron Man scene of getting struck by lightning by Thor. Yeah, and went, ooh, that's fun. But yeah, I did find it a little difficult to get my head around the first time I did that, and that was when I'd integrated various oddities with Dave's pack, I think. And that was a while ago.
Oh yeah.
Trying to remember. Probably been almost 2 years at this point. My God. I feel old.
You brought that one on yourself.
I did.
That was your mistake. You tried to measure time.
I tried to measure time and my brain went, it's been a while. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do like the idea. I do think you'll be hard-pressed to combat Origins, though.
Yeah. I guess the best way, I guessing you got a real charge out of making that species. Maybe. I guess the main deciding point will be if I can get it out before Origins updates, and if I can make it sufficiently user-friendly on the, creation kind of side of things. Which I might just try and make some tools to just generate species, for instance. So it just, you go into game, you run a bunch of commands, and it just generates a species that you can then save to a file.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like commands aren't actually the most user-friendly way to do that, though.
Oh?
Well, your average Joe user, as it were, isn't gonna have the same grasp of, commands that myself or you would, essentially. And, commands are a relatively well-known feature of Minecraft, but not everybody uses them. In fact, quite a lot of people don't. Especially people who consistently play survival and stuff like that.
Which is weird, because, you've harangued me for using commands on this very server.
Oh, yeah, well, me haranguing you for using commands, and me knowing that there are people out there who just don't use commands, is a knowledge that can go hand in hand. But yeah, I mean, I think a user interface that has more flexibility is better for player retention.
Okay. I thought you were going for widespread adoption than that, but yes.
Well, widespread adoption and player retention, I would say. Because, the more people like it, the more they'll stick with it. And the more they'll stick with it, the more they'll share it with other people. Right?
Yes.
So, by increasing user retention, you're also increasing player adoption.
I guess the only other thing I could think to make it even easier than using commands would be to just literally have a web page. that just
has templates on it.
Just build your own species, basically.
I mean, I know a few mods that do similar things.
Yeah. It's just not... Web development is not my area, so...
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Not sure. I mean, there's definitely a lot of different ways to implement something like that, but... I couldn't tell you what would and wouldn't work, honestly.
Yeah. Main
there's
thing really
there's
is
a
getting
lot
it to
of
work first.
hmm?
The main thing really is getting it to work first.
Yes, that is.
So far, I've managed to contort Java to a point where it will import the project, but I haven't managed to contort it to a point where it can actually boot said project.
Hmm. I mean,
Which
I wish
I
you
don't
the
know why
best
these
of
should be
luck.
separate things, but they are apparently.
Hmm. I do wish you the best of luck, though. I mean, it's gonna be a trial, but I believe in you.
The benefit for me is I've already coded it once before.
Yeah, that's true. Hmm. I'm not entirely certain what I'm building here. It might be a fishmonger's.
It appears to be an ad break for me for A Quiet Place Day 1.
Wonderful. Thank you, Twitch, for these goddamn ad breaks.
Yeah, I remember when we were making the last Come Block Home video. Well, the latest, I suppose I should say, because I never want to rule out another one. The latest Come Block Home series. We had various oddities on the server for that. So Nipty the dragon was just like roaming around underground looking for resources to mine up and such. And I was just sitting in chat being an awful enabler, being like, "Hey, if you run this command, you'll get the capacity to survive lava indefinitely." It's a cool feature from various oddities.
Mm-hmm. You truly are an awful enabler, aren't you?
Oh yes, I'm terrible at enabling. God awful.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do think, Lying, that you... How do I say this? I think you rely on commands a little too much.
I rely on commands no more than I rely on code.
Which,
Or nor
by that
anyone else on
definition,
money.
by that definition, you are relying on it all the time, because Minecraft is made of code.
Well, not my code. Lord knows it's not my code.
Still, my point stands.
Yeah, I think your point is, like, in a dive position, for sure.
My point is that I think you use commands too much, and I think I might be right, considering I think my use of commands is good enough.
How do you know? Maybe if you use commands more, you'll find out that it actually isn't.
When I'm in creative mode, and when I'm building stuff on the Ghost Industries set, I use commands plenty. You know how you're always of the opinion that, like, when we're playing vanilla Minecraft, things should stay vanilla?
Yes. Although, I think more specifically, that comes up whenever we're trying to do, like, here's the latest DLC for Space Engineers, and you're playing it in a modded setting.
No, it comes up a lot in Minecraft as well.
Right.
Like, especially when I'm introducing custom models and stuff like that.
With massive cuboid counts, yes.
Depends on the model. Some of them don't have massive cuboid counts, and then some of them are Warp's Railgun. Which has... I checked the other day as to the amount of cubes in that specific item. 674!
Oh.
Yeah.
You may have gone overboard there.
In fairness, it's mostly circles.
Right.
So that's the reason why it has so many.
I don't know if that's better or worse, sir. This is Minecraft.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, my point is, you're always like, vanilla should stay vanilla, essentially.
Yes.
Unless we're doing mods, vanilla should stay vanilla.
Yeah, because
then-
otherwise, why wouldn't we just play modded and just like outright?
Exactly.
Essentially.
And then my thought on that is, well, in that case, survival should stay survival. If you want to use commands, you should just play creative.
These are different things, sir.
They are not. They are very similar.
Different things. 90%
very
of my use
similar
of commands in especially on this server is time saving because I'm a multiply disabled person with a very limited amount of time in which I can do stuff.
So am I.
That aside, I still made a 300 by 300 block pit, and it took me like a fortnight. Well, more like a month, but still, took me a while.
Yes, but at the same time, you did still use commands to get through specific parts because you wanted to quote unquote save time.
I didn't do that actually. This was all mined out entirely by machine.
No, you literally told us on stream that you use commands for specific parts.
I used hopping into spectator mode. That's the most common one I use.
No, you said you removed some bedrock using commands because it took too long otherwise.
It did. Okay, you're gonna hold the last 2 lines of bedrock to me over the preceding like
no, but
I'm
I'm making the point of using commands to save time is essentially like popping into creative for a second when you're playing survival.
I think I demonstrated that I could do it without commands. It was purely a time-saving measure.
That's my point, though. It's still like
you are seemingly taking umbrage with a thing I consider to be an accessibility feature.
That is probably fair. Like in my view, it's not an accessibility feature. In my view, it is basically
in your view, it's
cheating.
An exploit.
In my view, it's an exploit because, by definition, the base game does not have commands enabled. It is something that you actively have to enable to use. And by that definition, I believe it doesn't count as a actual, like, command. It doesn't count as, like, actually playing the game in the way it's intended to be played, essentially. But then again, you could say that, by that definition, the fact that the game includes the ability to do those commands is part of the game.
I think Sark has had a video way back on what constitutes vanilla.
Yeah, I mean, so basically we have different definitions of what constitutes survival, essentially, in Minecraft. Yours constitutes utilizing commands as a time-saving measure for videos and streams and stuff like that. Mine constitutes survival is survival, and if you're using commands, then it's not really survival anymore, sort of thing. And those are two very different viewpoints. But they can be shared on the same platform, in the same sort of view of how things function, if you will.
There are things that we can actually agree to disagree on.
Yeah, exactly. There are things that we can agree to disagree on.
Like pineapple on pizza.
Pineapple on pizza is good, thank you very much.
I also am a pineapple on pizza enjoyer.
Then we can agree on that.
Damn, I need a new thing. Well, we definitely can't agree on what football team's best because neither of us care.
Neither of us care about football. I'm sorry, we are both gay. Football does not concern us.
I'm sure there's a way that we could care about football. It wouldn't be anything to do with the
It wouldn't
sports,
be anything to do with the football, but you know, sure.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure there are some footballers that I might even consider to be hot.
I'm
never
sure that there
them.
are quite a few footballers that run around shirtless, and I might consider that interesting. But that's about as far as I go. Oh. But yeah, like, as I was saying, it is something that we can, at the end of the day, agree to disagree on, because, like, we both play the game our own way, and we'll poke fun at each other over the way we play, but That doesn't mean we're actively going to, I don't know, make a call-out post on Tumblr about it.
I mean, I could.
You could, but...
Don't know how many notes it would get, but I could.
I bet you at least Dusty would reblog it.
Dusty has reblogged my entire blog multiple times.
Same here. Like, this is...
Dusty hit the post count, like the post limit, a couple of times.
I'm not
just for reblogging my
surprised.
stuff.
I'm not surprised in the slightest. Should I give this man an attic?
Can he afford an attic?
Probably not.
Are attics commonplace in this culture?
I'm not actually sure. Like, on the one hand, a lot of places have, like, peaked roofs and stuff. But on the other hand, like, I think they could afford rafters, but I don't think they could afford a full-on attic.
Someone renting out the top floor? Oh, so now you're asking an even worse question. Is this man a landlord?
Is this man a landlord? Oh, gods, I don't know. I don't think so. I think this is... I think there's a shop below, and then there's an apartment above. And I think it's like... the shopkeep lives in the same building. I think that's what is going on here. Oh god, I need to break out the overturned tables again. Damn it. I was hoping I would never have to do this again.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure you're behind the window on that one.
What?
The Overton window. You not familiar?
No.
It's the
Why
things that it's the level of which the general public will be accepting of something. Like we are past the Overton window of the general public accepting like gay rights, mostly, for instance. But we are not necessarily past
the overturn window of people accepting Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister?
God, I hope so. Oh, I was so happy today because it was nice and sunny, and I went outside to like sit in the sunshine and have my breakfast, and I noticed that there is a 30% decline in the number of conservative signposts.
Ooh, fancy.
I have no idea why, but
I think it might have something to do with the fact that the Conservatives are just kind of given up.
I did ponder for a moment if the candidate, like, on the poster, or on the signpost, rather, had, like, resigned or, like, dropped out or something. I don't know. But
I mean,
I don't care enough to look it up. I'm just happy to, like,
I did
not have him staring me in the
rumors.
face while I eat my breakfast.
I did hear rumors that the Conservatives are still looking for 190 parliamentary candidates before the general election.
I know that Reform just stopped vetting them.
Wow, really?
Yeah, Reform UK stopped vetting them, so now they have like 100 candidates that are heavily linked with the alt-right. Which admittedly would be the case even if they did vet them, because it's the Reform UK, but nonetheless.
Yeah. I mean, I will have to say, I was very tempted to sign up as a parliamentary candidate for the Conservative Party and then switch to Labour on the day of the election.
I don't know. I feel like there must be something against that, because otherwise that's all the Tories would be doing right now.
They've been doing it.
Oh no.
A few Tory parliamentary candidates just swapped sides completely.
Maybe that's why they're taking so long to vet.
Maybe, because they don't want people going over to the other side. No, it's interesting. I mean, I think my favorite thing about this entire election period here in the UK has been Nigel Farage getting milkshaked again.
Oh, yeah, you'll have to see it.
That was beautiful. And by a wonderful lady who happens to have an OnlyFans, no less. Oh. It was very, very, very fun to see. And then all the conservative media tried to label her as a person seeking attention and promoting her OnlyFans by milkshaking Nigel Farage.
I don't know exactly what's on her OnlyFans, where that would make any sense.
Apparently nothing, and the media was reaching for strings, and she actually came out publicly and said, I did not do this for any form of promotion. Please fuck off out of my private life, thank you very much.
Fair, fair.
So, yeah. What else? Oh, yeah. Just the fact that the entirety of the Tory party has kind of just... They started out by making subtle digs at Rishi Sunak for quote-unquote wanting to be in California by the time the school period starts. So that his kids could go to school in California, which is why he called the general election so early. And then everybody just kind of watched Rishi Sunak just kind of give up. And it's very funny to me. The whole situation is very enjoyable.
I would enjoy it a lot more, I imagine, if I wasn't a football in its play, but...
Yeah, no, I agree. I would like it if I could actually go to vote in peace. But apparently I'm not even allowed to do that.
Somebody, like, there was a whole, like, article written, actually, about how, like, trans and non-binary people, which, hi, I'm both of those,
yep.
are having problems with their, they're having problems with their photo ID. Because... Partially, it's like the gender marker. If you no longer resemble what gender marker is on your paperwork, for instance, or you don't sufficiently resemble the marker that's on it, people can just turn you away from voting.
Yeah.
Which is probably entirely the point, but... And then there's like, my name is literally lying. There's like a dozen different non-binary people in the UK whose name is Brick. So, like, if people just think that, if people don't believe your name and think that, like, a fake document of some kind, they'll turn you away as well.
I did read that postal voting doesn't require ID.
Nor does the voter authority certificate, which is another thing I have, just in case. But you need to apply for those specially, and they're only useful as voting material, which really right now is not a huge issue, but...
Yeah. Well, hopefully everything runs smoothly and we don't have too many issues come election day.
As smoothly as it can do, knowing that we are currently under the thumb of the party of voter of election interference.
Yes. I mean, we can hope. That's all we can really do at this point. Oh, gods.
Oh no, have you remembered something?
I remembered something. I remembered, okay, so... Do you know about the restart scheme?
You're gonna have to fill me in.
Okay, so down here in Brighton, the DWP essentially went, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna shelve everyone and stick them with a completely different company so that we don't have to do any work. Right. And they're called FedCap, which sounds delightful, doesn't it? Sounds wonderful. But yeah, essentially, FedCap run the restart scheme, which is to get you back into work.
Joke's on them, I've never been in work.
Yeah.
The only reason I have a job is because I created one.
And essentially, they have been putting me through the process, even though they're technically not allowed to put me through the process. Okay, so essentially, when I arrived in Brighton, I went over to the DWP. I said, "Hey, here's all of this," and they were like, "Great, we're referring you to the restart scheme. You'll have your actual work coach assignment next week." And I was like, "Okay, fine. I need to register this stuff with you, though." And they were like, "Yep, you can do it next week." And I'm like, right.
They never got back to you, did they?
No, they got back to me. And
Okay.
I went down next week and I was like, "Okay, hey, all of this shit changed between the last time that I applied for the disability portion of the DWP stuff and now. I would like to reapply, because I am legally allowed to do that now that I have my ADHD diagnosis and all of this other shit that states, hey, this person is disabled."
Yes.
And the person who I spoke to went, "Yeah, okay, we can do that. Just make sure to send in all of these documents, etc., etc., etc. We will put your DWP requirements on pause until all of this is sorted." Right? Because that's what they do.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Except that 2 weeks before that, they'd referred me to the restart scheme. And now they are consistently telling the restart scheme that I need to be there, while all of my commitments are completely blank. Because I don't have any commitments. Which means I shouldn't technically be on the restart scheme.
So bureaucracy is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's... The interdepartmental communication of the DWP in Brighton is garbage. Yeah. And I have to go in every 2 weeks, and I'm relatively certain that my leg is getting worse because of it.
Yeah, I whip you there.
Yeah. So
I'm getting to the end of my my post birthday week here. That's like the last day. That's tomorrow. I had to move some stuff on Saturday, and I am still recovering.
Oof. Oh god.
My legs hurt, my arms hurt, my wrists very much hurt.
Yeah, I'm just thinking Thursday I'm off to Rotterdam.
Oh?
I'm going to TwitchCon.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I am excited to go. But also, I am so anxious about it. Like, without an ounce of doubt, I am quaking in my 2.5-inch high heels.
I mean, for a start, I would not wear those to the airport.
Well, no, I'm not going to wear...
Those sound like terrible traveling boots.
No, actually, they're really comfortable. Well, they're not 2.5-inch. They're like 2-inch high heels. But I got them today because I was like, I need to get a pair of shoes that go with these specific outfits, and my brain won't let me wear these specific outfits unless I have the right shoes to go with them.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll get these new shoes. I got them today, I put them on, and they're super comfortable. They have just the right arch, and it's, honestly, they're really nice to wear. And I was like, well, okay, I guess these will do for whenever I decide to wear more effeminate outfits, as it were. Because when I went charity shopping with Elfie the other week when they came down to Brighton, and I hadn't intended to buy anything. I hadn't intended to.
That does not mean you didn't, am I guessing, right?
I came away with a full-length black dress and a essentially mildly see-through mid-long sleeve shirt, and they look very good. They look very good. Yeah. I couldn't help myself. I also came away with like 3 books and a pair of Pride socks.
Good choice. 'Tis the season.
Yes. 'Tis the season. 'Tis the season.
It's the US season, but technically I think the UK Pride Month is August. Or at least that's when we seem to actually schedule a lot of stuff. For some reason.
It depends which city you're in.
Yeah.
Because Manchester schedules it in June and July, Brighton schedules it in August, Edinburgh schedules it in June, I think. It depends where you are in the UK.
Yeah.
Speaking of...
Oh.
So, here's a question for you, Lang. Have you ever played a game called Only Cans?
Can't say as I have.
I personally think you would enjoy it. Just because it's like silly sexual comedy, essentially.
It's just immediately in chat saying, "Oh no."
Honestly, it's a really fun little game. It has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. It is free. It takes maybe less than an hour to play. Or less than 2 hours-ish. I don't quite remember how long it is, but it's not very long. It is essentially a game about erotic soda can photography.
Right.
I am sensing trepidation.
It's more of a... For a brief moment, you made me remember that a certain anime exists.
What?
There's an anime series where it's like a guy who is like he's like super into soda cans as like a hobby, like he collects them and all sorts, and then
I see.
they come to life as like waifus,
God.
basically.
Okay, it's not quite that bad. It's not quite that bad. They do have voice lines, though.
Of course, they do.
The game is made by Oxyox Spring. The Stupendium did a song for it. Honestly, it's actually just very good. It's a bit of wholesome, mildly naughty fun, essentially. It's actually a very wholesome game, except for the fact that it's got,
for the fact that it's erotic.
Except for the fact that it's erotic and the fact that there's souls of living people trapped inside the cans.
Okay, you didn't mention that part till now.
No, I didn't. Anyway, I've been talking to the creator of the game for a little while now, because I wanted to, like, add a few references to the game. What do you mean, what, Dusty? What do you mean, what?
Sorry, I know the past, like, hour and a half might have made it difficult to believe, but Lucian can in fact talk.
Somehow, yes.
It's a developing science. We're still studying it.
Shut up.
But it seems Lucians can in fact talk to people.
Yeah. So, like, essentially, I've been talking to the developer of the game for a little while, because I essentially wanted to add references to the game in my own series, right? Because I quite like the game. It's kind of fun. It's a little bit wacky. It's a little bit silly. It's all good fun.
Yep.
What do you mean there's souls in the cans? Don't worry about it, Dusty. Don't worry about it. But yeah, essentially, I've been talking to the developer, and the other day I was like, hey, do you have any assets from the game that I could extract from and use, like logos and stuff like that? And he basically sent me all of the .obj files for the game, including like the main texture for like the cans and stuff. And with that, I was able to reverse engineer a can from the game in Blender.
Oh no. Okay.
So I created a new flavor. Which is
a Lucian flavor?
No, I created a pride flavor.
Uh-huh. Is this about to get a bit Willy Wonka?
I'm gonna send you
the soda that turns you gay.
No, I'm gonna send you a link. Not a link, a GIF. This is what I created. This is Rainbow Riot, the new flavor from She's Ltd. Or not She's Ltd. She's LLC.
I'm glad that you pronounced that, because that's not how I would read that.
Yeah, no, the first time I ever read it, I also read it as Shies.
I would read that with a German accent.
Yes. So, as I said, first time I ever read that, I was like, that's Shies. But no, it is She's. And it is, what does a Lucian flavor taste like?
Bitter.
Salty. But yeah, essentially I went through and I made that for Pride Month, and we're planning on doing a little Pride video for the Ghost Industries series for this month, and we're recording on the 23rd. So I was like, well, I'll put together a little spinning can, and we can have like an advert for Rainbow Riot on screen. It's gonna be fun. So yeah. All of that to say, Only Cans is a very fun game, and you should definitely play it on stream.
I don't think that's my usual kind of oeuvre.
I think you should at least give it a go.
You know, I've been saying that about like wearing skirts and whatnot lately, and it's still taking me some acclimation.
That's fair. I mean, in fairness, I looked at dresses and I went, I should give that a go. And then I wore a dress and I was like, I like this. But I also like my suits.
The difference between us, though, is that you have legs.
What?
And when I wear a mini skirt, it looks like a skirt.
Oh. No, what you mean is, I have height lying.
No, we're gonna go with legs.
Okay,
when
sure.
When I wear anything but a mini skirt, it might as well be a full length skirt.
Oh yeah, we can scale you to an accurate height in Minecraft now.
I will kill you. I have a sword named patreon.com/lying, and I will kill you. Alternatively, I can kill you with gofundme.com/f/lyings-transition-fund the crossbow.
I scaled Dusty to their accurate height according to real life, and I scaled myself to an accurate height according to real life. I actually have an image. Hold on, let me send you this. Dusty is in the middle, essentially.
Oh, so are you real world Lucian height there as well? Or
Yes, I am.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Why? Hang on. Why does I'm guessing that Zen look like that?
What do you mean?
Why does Zen look like that?
Like a pig?
Yeah.
Because that's Zen's skin. That's the skin Zen always wears. He's the pigtator.
But that part I get. Why is the snout 3D?
Oh, that's just because of a mod I use. It makes the secondary layer 3D.
Oh, of course. Right.
Hmm. I like my cosmetic
It's
mods.
weird that I'm the one that's, like, dismissively surprised by that. I'm the one that actually makes mods.
Yeah.
That's just occurred to me.
But yeah, so we essentially... I've been pulling everyone's heights and making everyone the height they would be in real life. Which is... It's fun. I'm kind of sad that we can't scale, like, horizontally. We can only scale vertically.
Well, you want people to be wide?
Oh, I think people should have the option.
I mean, I never said they shouldn't.
I'm not saying I want people to be wide. I'm saying they should have the option to be wide if they want to be wide.
I mean, I don't know how it affects the hitbox as is.
It definitely affects the collision box. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, there's basically only one in Minecraft. Minecraft is extremely rudimentary. The bounding boxes in this game can't even rotate.
Yeah, it's true. Well...
No, they can't. They can't.
But lying flat would... It...
We can change hitboxes. Like, we can rescale them, but we can't actually, like, rotate them in any way. And that's because the bounding boxes in Minecraft are based on 2 3D points, rather than potentially 2 3D points and a rotation matrix. So you get height and you get width. Those are your 2 values. That is it.
Interesting.
Believe me, I have had headaches aplenty from that.
I can imagine. But yeah, so essentially we've been putting the scale attribute to the test, and I honestly quite like the results. Like, being able to see people's different heights is actually kind of fun. Is neat. Also,
Look, Dusty, you can't just go into a Twitch chat and yell, "Make me flat."
I mean, there is top surgery for that.
There's that, yeah.
That's where my brain went. Whenever someone says "make me flat," they're always talking about their tits. So I'm like, top surgery?
It's Dusty though. Dusty's way too young to need that. Dusty is baby.
Dusty's 19.
Baby.
Not anymore. Maybe once upon a time, but I can tell you that even as a 19-year-old myself, I was like, I am getting very annoyed at people who call me child. It is getting irritating now. So, yeah.
Well, luckily for me, Dusty is like an ocean away and is therefore incapable of murdering me.
That's what you think.
Even if their baby hands could properly grip a trigger, they would not be able to kill me.
That's what you think. Dusty has a passport.
So do I. What's your point?
Dusty has the ability to travel.
Dusty has the paperwork to travel, not necessarily the ability.
Do you have the ability to travel, Dusty?
Could you afford a trip?
Could you afford a trip to the UK to kill lying?
Presumably a very short trip.
The answer is yes.
Well,
fear for your life, lying.
Oh, I don't fear for my life at all. I'd like to see you try.
I have successfully built 2 houses and gotten distracted multiple times talking about lore.
Well, congrats.
Congrats to me. Yay. Oh. Okay. Right. At least on my end, everybody, I think I'm going to call it for the evening. Because my brain is not letting me build right now. And I've been sitting staring at the same position for the past, like, 30 minutes. So... Oh, nice, Dusty. Congrats.
Oh, yeah, that's...
I stand by my previous statement.
Oh, is that why you
okay.
have a passport and you can afford to come to the UK? You've been saving up.
Right. I'm gonna send you all to Lang. Because Lang's doing stuff, and I'm not, but I will still sit in chat and chat. Because... Chat. Chat. You know what I mean. My brain needs to get off stream, but my voice does not want to. Essentially.
I see.
So I'm sending people to you so that I can continue to be me. Alright.